Hi there, and welcome to another devlog for my game Blitloop. After a long period of radio silence, it's finally back from the dark side, and just to get the ball back to rolling, I'm going to quickly walk through what has happened since the last video. And I hope I won't repeat myself too much, and it's all going to be new things. Otherwise, please just bear with me a little bit. Let's kick this off with a little bit of a catch-up, what has happened since the last video and why this game has been on hold for so long. So quite some time ago, while I was still working hard on this game, we were living in a house by the Ping River, and one day the water levels went up many meters, maybe 5 or 6 meters over normal levels, which led to our house getting completely flooded all the way to the roof, which of course put my attentions to many other matters than working on the game. So for a long time that was my primary focus in life, to relocate to another area. Anyway, we found a new house in a new area, safe from flooding, where I relocated with my family, so our kid and our dog are now safe and sound. And we now have a new little studio set up here, where I'm working from today and recording this video from, of course. Anyway, I sort of lost interest in the game for a while because I was quite exhausted, but I did work on some other projects in the meantime. One thing I did was an app that I had wanted to do for a long time to cater for my own personal need. I wanted a simple and down-to-earth image organizer where I can collect and organize all my inspirational and reference images I have. So I finally did that one. It's been on my list for years. It's a Mac-only app. It's on the App Store. I also did release a tiny Unity package to cater for some of Apple's recent app icon variants that Unity does not provide settings for. And of course, I have to update it because Apple has changed the variants again, and I will probably do that after this game is released. And while talking about packages, I'm a little bit surprised that my very simple safe area package is my most popular package on GitHub, passing 100 stars some time ago. I don't really use it myself anymore, as it's so easy to do this on the fly. But it's interesting to see that complex packages where you put in a lot of time, many times gain very little traction, and then you do something quick and easy, and apparently that's what people want, or it caters for a need that many people want anyway. And finally, I have spent a lot of time in Unity working on some other stuff. I began working on a space RTS, which has been a lot of fun, just to have something going on, and it was nice to start on a brand new project as I could use all the things I've learned while making Blitloop. So on this one I sort of hit the ground running. Still, this is my secondary project right now. My primary focus is to finish and release Blitloop, but this one will keep going a little bit in the background. Then let's talk a little bit about game design documents. When I started working on Blitloop, I did not have a game design document. And I initially had the intention of making a very simple Defender-inspired game in Swift and SpriteKit. So I really did not think I needed one either, which might have been correct at that time. Since then, Blitloop has grown a tremendous amount in scope, and in some regards that is of course very positive, as I have a more unique game, but it also has meant that there has never really been any clear end goal for me. Like, I have had no given point where I can say, now the game is finished. So the goalposts have kept moving, new ideas come, I revise, and so on. So we are talking about a constant feature creep and no scope control whatsoever in this project. So some time ago I stopped winging it and I sat down for a few days and I wrote a complete GDD, trying to cover as much as possible of how I want all the different parts and the different systems and all the mechanics in the game to actually work. just to give myself a clear finish line. So that took some effort, but I must say it was really, really worth it. So since that GDD was written, system after system has been coming together and coming into place, and I can just keep checking them off my issue tracker, and with the clear roadmap, it's just so easy to keep measuring the progress. So that's a lesson learned for all my future games, that writing a GDD should be a priority. So after, done prototyping, just write the GDD to lock down early what the game is supposed to be. And I'm sure next time I will not be able to lock it all down from the beginning, and there will have to be a few changes here and there. But it should at least provide a much, much better position than how I've been working with Blitloop. So not only do I now have a plan with a clear end goal, it is also much more fun and especially much more rewarding to see how the finish line keeps getting closer and closer. Since I rebooted this project, I have mostly been focused on refreshing my code base. I have pretty much been renovating it all around, so there hasn't been that much work done on the art since my previous video. I do have a big art refresh coming up now. It will be my next sprint, more or less. So I do expect the art to soon be in a much better place than it is right now. But I did actually make one small pass on my bullet effects some time ago. While it's not the final look of the bullets, it's still a better iteration than I had before. But once I do the art refresh, I most likely will have to revisit this one more time just to get a more consistent look with the art direction across the board, because I expect it to change a bit. And I also did redesign the player's ship one more time. I did redesign it in my last devlog, and yet I did it one more time. The reason was, the more I played with the last design, the more I felt that something wasn't really the way I liked it to be. So I sat down in Concepts, an app on my iPad, and made a few thumbnail sketches based on my previous design, and came up with this new one. And while this also is an improvement over the previous iteration, I do expect this one to also be changed one more time at least when I do my art refresh. So we will see about that, but I hope I can at least be somewhat happy with the next design, at least to the point where I find it acceptable enough to live with. So, well, we'll see. Now, let's talk architecture. One big takeaway from this project for me is that I've spent way too much time over-engineering my systems. I've been trying to cater for future needs, partly caused by not having a GDD, of course, so I did not really know where I was heading, which is another lesson learned. But what I should have done in the past is to try to remember the saying, you ain't gonna need it, and only build for what I need right now, not try to build for future maybes. One thing I'm particularly happy with is how I have simplified my bootstrapping, and I have a nice new shiny section in my custom Blitloop window to go with it, letting me jump into the game at any point without the need for custom code in the actual game to make it possible. The old one I had did a lot of convoluted setup to simulate the actual game from whatever scene I was starting from, which led me to spend a lot of time implementing lifecycle management everywhere just to keep it all together, and just to make components work in a life cycle they were never supposed to be in when it comes to the actual game. Anyway, my conclusion regarding architecture is that I have made two major mistakes during the development of this game up until recently. One, trying to make every system reusable for future projects, catering for all kinds of cases I think could be good to have in the future, but I don't really need for this game. And number two, trying to make smart automagical systems to get a very tiny API where all the magic happens under the hood. which is just terrible when you return to the codebase after having been away for a while. You just don't know what's going on. So code should be clear, easy, and just straightforward to read. Nothing smart, nothing clever. That just comes back and bites you in the end. So anyway, both of these things have been enormous time sinks when I look back at it. Though, building these elaborate systems have of course been teaching me a lot about the ins and outs of Unity, its APIs, all the editor tooling you can access. So it's not been completely in vain because I learned so much. But if I could go back in time, I would not do it again. So anyway, to make a long story short, most of my previous smart systems and reusable frameworks have since then been scrapped and replaced by new implementations anyway. So again, you ain't gonna need it. We're getting close to the end, but let's talk a little bit about sandboxes, which is another huge change in my workflow since the reboot, and that is to sandbox everything. Really, every single thing should start in a sandbox. Previously, I've been spending a lot of time building systems in the actual game, and to try them, I have to start the game and then observe that they work like they should, which has led to implementing a lot of cheat mode tooling so I can force specific scenarios, etc., just to be able to test my systems properly. That is cumbersome, and there is a lot of time going to waste on each new play just to get to the scenario in question, even if I added my own cheats and shortcuts. So I now have a sandbox first policy, that whatever I'm adding to the game, I build a sandbox for it. It's a new UI element, I make a sandbox. If it's a new enemy, I make a sandbox. If it's a new spawn system, I make a sandbox. I'm basically building the entire game in sandboxes and barely have to start the actual game anymore until I'm pretty much done with the feature I'm building. And this saves me an enormous amount of time. And it has really increased my efficiency many times over. So this is definitely something I'm gonna keep doing for future games. Another good side effect of this is that it forces me to reduce hard dependencies. My systems are built to be very decoupled, easy to mock, and this has helped me a lot to get rid of all the previous lifecycle problems I had to deal with over and over again that are pretty much gone in my current development cycle. And that's a wrap for this time, so thanks for watching. I hope you want to wishlist Blitloop on Steam, that would mean a lot to me. I will put the link in the description. And if you have any questions, or if you want to discuss something related to this video, or anything regarding game development in general, feel free to join my Discord server, and take care. See you in the next one, and may the source be with you. Cheers!